Okay, so in the previous part we modelled this power tower, so now it's time to export it out to ready for import into Substance Painter and Unity. So I'm going to do a few things that I probably should do every time, but one of them I certainly forget. Make sure we do Control A. Make sure it's in object mode. Just tab into object mode and then do Control A, rotation and scale. I think that was already there, but always worth doing. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to here to the materials tab and then just click on new, and we'll just give it a one called Power Tower Matte, something like that, something unique. Okay, the reason for that is otherwise it gets in Substance Painter it will just be called default material, and that drives the name of the images that get exported. Okay, the other thing to make sure is that let's just make sure that we've called this something meaningful as well, like Power Tower. Alright, so now what we can do is we'll just export this. Okay, export to FBX, and then we want to make sure that it's just the selected objects, and we will call it, and we're in the folder Power Tower pt002.fbx, and we'll export the FBX file. And it is slowly but surely done. There we go. And now we can go into Substance Painter. Okay, for those of you that haven't used Substance Painter before, please go and check out some of my other tutorials. In fact, better still, go and check out some of the Substance Painter tutorials on the internet. It's not a free application. I think I've already done the best I can to sell this to people. I'm not particularly good at texturing, so a program like this, as you'll shortly see, really helps, how can we say, artistically challenged people to do something half decent with their images. So if you can't afford it, I get that, and so what you should probably do is go and download the 30-day trial and follow along with this. But you know, if you want to do computer games, if you want to get into modelling, creating art, I think you're going to need this is called PBR, which allows you to see the physical based rendering, so it's called so real time. Well, let's get this loaded up now, and I'll start showing you what I'm talking about. So what we can do is we'll do new here. And we'll just select the mesh, and of course it is under Blender, exactly. Let's go to Power Tower pt002.fbx. Now I think it might even load blend files, but I'm not going to try that. And I'll just click on open. A few things here: normal map format, the document resolution. You can change this later on in flight. You'll see that's one of the really rather cool things. But for now we'll just click OK, and that will bring our Power Tower into Substance Painter. Now something I don't know whether it's something I've done or not, but under the viewer settings here, if you just go onto the environment opacity and pop that up a bit, this actually has you can see there's a background. It gives it a background. The background will affect how it's lit actually. So you might want to try a variety of different backgrounds, and you can do that here, by clicking on panorama and just picking your favourite. I'm going to stick with that one for now and just blur it out a bit, just so it's like that. All right. Now, okay. So we've done a good. We've brought it in. There it is. I'm just pressing Alt left click to move it around. This is one thing that really confuses me, and I think that's probably Blender's fault. Is that the different ways to manipulate the objects. Blender is just middle mouse and holding down, whereas this is Alt left click, as is Unity. So I think probably Blender's the one that's a bit quirky. Alright, now before we even start modelling this, we need to do what's called creating the image map files. So let's go over to the texture set settings, baking the textures. There we go. This is what we need to do. We need to bake them out. And we can do that by just clicking on Bake Textures, and what I tend to do is do 1024 by 1024 and select anti-aliasing 4x4. This seriously slows down the texture maps that are created. So it takes probably, on my machine, best part of 3 or 4 minutes. If you've got a decent processor, I think mine's a GTX 970. If you've got a decent one, then I say decent, GTX 970 is decent, but a faster one, then it may be quicker. My apologies, as you may have heard the phone ring there. I had to quickly get rid of that. We can set output size to 1024 by 1024 now, and like I say, subsampling 4x4. So we'll just click on Bake Power Tower Matte Textures, and I'll click that, and away it'll go. I will pause this, and I'm back. Apologies, slight confusion there. I am getting a few calls. If it wasn't obvious, I'm actually searching for jobs right now, so that obviously takes priority. I need to make sure that I'm speaking to the right people. But while that was going on, it did actually bake them. It looked like magic to you, but that probably took 3 or 4 minutes. If you've really got the time, you can go for subsampling 8x8. Mine actually runs out of memory when I do that, so I wouldn't advise doing it. So what we're going to do to start with is we will just get this whole thing, and we'll just give it a kind of a base coat. And what I'll do is I will go into wireframe mode by clicking over to viewer settings and just do wireframe here. This gives you the opportunity to set the basically select which areas you want to work with. So what I'm actually going to do, I think, is select the excuse me, if I just remove this here, this is a paint layer, so let's just remove that, and we will add a fill layer, which is this one. And what we'll do is we will add a black mask to it by right clicking it and doing add black mask. And over here what we can then do, click on the black mask, and then over here do polygon fill. That's the one. Now we can select everything. Let's just pick a colour here to make sure that we know that we're doing it, and we'll just go base colour. Oh no, base colour red, like that, and there you go. Now you can see that it's doing it. Okay, so now we've done everything there. This is just for example right now. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to deselect. If I just drag this over and then just click it, and also if I think it's press F6, it goes into orthographic mode, my favourite new feature. So if I spin back to here and just go back from white to black and then select that lot, I'm hoping that will unselect everything apart from that piece there, and it has. So can you see now what I've actually done for this fill layer is say, right, only apply it to everything here, every area here. Now at the moment it looks absolutely rubbish, and this is okay because we're about to do some really cool stuff to it. What I'll actually do is I'm actually going to put this to a folder, I think is what I will do, and I'll grab that there and I will call this outer section or something like that. Outer section. Right. And what we're going to start doing, and actually what I'm going to do as well, is I will just right click that black mask and do copy mask, and then I will click on the folder and then do paste. Where are we? Paste into mask. Do I need to have a mask there to start with? I think I do. Although, yeah, so let's just add a black mask here, add black mask, and then can I do it now? Paste into mask there, and I can actually delete that mask there. Remove mask. Alright, so we're actually applying it to the folder, so that means we can do multiple things now inside this layer. A lot of you will be familiar with this if you use Photoshop or what have you. So let's start playing around with it. Now I didn't actually like the red when I was showing it earlier on. I think I might go something like a blue, and then a very dark blue, something like that. That's already a much cooler look, isn't it? And what we can do as well is we can actually add some kind of sort of a mottled effect to it, so let's do that. What I'll actually do, I've not done this, I'll just call this base colour, and that's the way I spell colour there, guys. That's the correct way of spelling it for if anybody's asking. That's going to be the base colour, and then what I'm going to do next is I will add another fill layer, but it's only going to affect the let's just for now just to make it do the height. And then what we'll do here, we'll make sure it's on triplanar. In fact, we'll also do base colour as triplanar. If that doesn't make any sense, what it actually does is it tries to merge the seams together. And it doesn't just try, it does a great job. And this one, by the way, is just this. This is the height. It does a really good job of merging the seams. It's obviously it's not going to be noticeable for when everything's the same colour, but it is noticeable when you do things like the height maps and stuff. Let's quickly go to viewer settings and unselect wireframe so we can see the whole picture there, and let's, rather than just go for a defined height like that, you can actually specify height maps. And my personal favourite, if I just go down here, is the fractal one. Where is it gone? Fractal sum. And it looks pretty munched up now, doesn't it? But it's okay, because what we can now do is just go over to the base colour, to the layer selection here, and just select height, and we'll just bring that right down to something much more pleasing. Now the thing I don't like about it, I think, is it's the height is too big. It's tough to see actually. There we go. That one there looks visible. So I'm actually going to whack this up to something like 8 maybe. 8 looks a bit better to me. There, that looks a bit better. Still a little bit too small. So let's try 16. Yeah, something like that. Just nice and mottled. Alright, so that's the height. Next up, we'll have another channel for just the roughness, and again we'll get rid of everything except the roughness, and then again we'll make this something like a fractal sum. I do like fractal sum. It works. Sometimes you play around with each. Just pick different ones. You see, for instance, I quite like that. It doesn't have to be quite as brutal as that. It's very metallic, doesn't it? And what we can do is actually, let's just try making this a metal layer as well. I just clicked that, didn't I? Metal, metal. Interesting. I seem to have gone for some funky mode here. I didn't mean to do that, so let's just do that again. Yeah, so it's just the roughness. So what happens if I do this? If I just do metal, brings up the metal one. So roughness now. What was it? Let's just do fractal sum, just because I just understand this one. There, okay, and it looks pretty terrible. But what we can then do again is go here and click on roughness and bring it down. And so it's just kind of showing like that. Just keeping it there. And like I say, what I tend to do... Oh! Arse! There we go. Now I can adjust the metallic levels so until I'm kind of happy with where it is. Something like that, maybe. Something like that. It still looks very bland. So what we will do is we will add another layer to it. Another fill layer. And this one is going to be the color layer. But it's going to be the... it's going to have a black mask added to it. So we'll add a black mask here. And then what we do with this, let's just quickly pick a nice... Before we add that, actually, let's just remove that. Remove the mask, and we'll just set something like aluminium. Okay, I think that's worked. Yeah, so that's giving us an aluminium look. We can do this, actually. Roughness, height. Alright, let's give us the aluminium. And now we'll add our black mask, which is completely hidden it away. But what you can do is you call these rather cool things called generators. And a generator allows us to add effects to this stuff. And what we'll actually do now is we'll do it. Just try MG Dirt. That's okay. That's crazy stuff. I don't really like that. I want it. Let's just see if I can do it with this one here. Because it's much too much. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, okay. Again, we want to make sure, by the way, that this is triplanar. That will hide any of the seams, which I really can't see anyway, which is good. But it's a little bit brutal. So what we'll do, so we'll just call this aluminium dirt, and then we'll actually click on the color thing again, base color. We'll make it. Let's just try a few things here. Linear dodge. Good, that works, because then what I can do is just start dragging this down. Something like that. Subtlety wins, right? Weird that I'm calling aluminium dirt, but alright, now what we'll do is we'll add yet another layer. And again, this is going to be a black mask, but let's just yeah, aluminium is exactly right. We'll call this aluminium edging. Aluminum, is that how you say it in America? Aluminum edging. I love that. I love the way you pronounce aluminum. It seems so weird to me. Laboratory as well, laboratory. These words. Some words make perfect sense. In fact, if anything, I think you should probably say them correctly. But aluminum, really? Right. Okay, so we've got this one here, and what I'll do here now, I think, is if I go to Smart Masks, one of these guys, is it concrete edges? Pop that in, and we just need to play around with this a bit just to get it right. And make sure that triplanar is on, which it is. I need to remind myself which one is the edging and which one is the... Just start tinkering until the edges appear like so. There, and now we've got ourselves some pretty good rough stuff. So let's up the grunge. So we can down the grunge and up the level until we start to see the edge. They're getting really looking worn. That like that. Do you see? I like that. I like the way that looks. Not hugely. I might actually. What's this one? Grunge concrete. What happens if I unselect that? Oh yeah, let's hide that. Let's keep that in rather. And again, that's triplanar. That's good. This has got use triplanar on. This kind of just keeps all the edges nice. And I can't see any problems with these edges right now, which is great. I rather like the way this looks actually. I rather like the way that's working. The other thing I do like to do is add some ground dirt here. So we might just want to do that with another fill layer, and we'll call this ground dirt. Same rules apply. Materials, aluminium, like so. You know, I'm beginning to wonder if this is actually aluminium. Let's just make sure these guys are aluminium. Alright, this one here, we'll right click and we'll add ourselves a black mask. And we need to, on this one, we need to add, I can't remember if it's a generator. No, it's not. So it's not the generator, it's a smart mask. If I just do ground dirt, there it is. And if we just drag ground dirt in there, pretty sure it'll be way too high, so we can just quickly get this one here and do dirt height and just start bringing it down until you find the right height. I'm not happy with the way it has, I think, affected the other areas here. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So let's just down the level as well. Yeah, why has it done the rest of it? It shouldn't go above the height, should it? Just do something until you find a level that you're happy with. This is looking pretty tatty now. But again, I think what I'll probably do on the colour here, just add and make sure it's linear dodge again, and then just down the colour, just so it blends in a nudge. No, it's not quite so bad. There, you see, so it looks cool on the ground. Looks like it's seen some time. You can adjust. Notice if bits like that are missing. I think there's a ground dirt here. If I go here and just pick that one, I think there's a random button. There you go, seed random, and you can just keep pressing it until you find something you like. Did I just see that? Let's make sure that's triplanar. I don't even know where the seam is. That's what I love about this thing. Right, for now, we're going to call that done. I'll just quickly save this now, make sure I've saved it. Blender, save it in Power Tower. And we'll call it PT002, but remove the FBX bit. There we go. I think I clicked that. Yeah, it did, it saved it. There we go. Glorious. Righty. I'm liking what I see. Right, so next up we're going to do let's do this middle section here. That should be nice and easy, shouldn't it? Let's just hide the, you see, this is the beauty. You can use these folders and you can just snap them away. Right, let's work on the middle section. I think to keep things consistent, I will add a folder. This is something, I don't know if this is a bug or not, but it puts the folder inside there. It's pretty clear that I didn't want it in there, in my opinion. So we'll just do this. We'll call this inner rim. And again, we will add a black mask. In order to recognise that this folder is working, let's just grab ourselves a smart material. No, it's a material. And just, I think, if I just quickly go in here and add a fill layer, again, drag it in. Alright. We'll call this fill layer basic or something like that. Well, sometimes you can go really simple with this stuff. So I'm just trying to prove that I've got the right bits here. So I'll go over to here again. We've still got our polygon fill in, so we can just select, I think, that one, possibly even the UV. So hang on, let's just make sure that this is something decent. So we'll make it brass pure, so it's pretty obvious when we select them. And if I just select that and click that, no. Okay, so I've got to do that one then. Even more curious. In that case, that one. I'm just going to have to go through selecting them. I'm just sort of using the mouse and dragging. It's working though. But just in case it wasn't obvious, this isn't going to be the end colour. I'm just making sure that the mask has selected all of the... See, that's the sort of thing that can happen. Just need to quickly select that and just do that and that. It's triangulated it for me. Okay. Interesting, it triangulated those, but not those. Or did it? No. That's a triangle up there. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Right. We're not happy with that. That's just a silly looking surface. There's a few things I'd like to do. Number one is the height. Let's just get that in there. Can I drag that down? You can create this effect, you see, where it goes up and down. Look at that. I've done that one as well. Look. There. So let's spin back here. Just select it. Okay. Yes. Okay, I think that's all of them. We can always tweak it later on. It does look like I've got another one, doesn't it? There, look. So something else has been selected. There it is. Okay, good. All right, I'll stop it. All right, let's just leave the height something reasonable, and we will adjust this base color. We could even do something funky with it, like give it a decent material here. Perhaps steel rough. So if we just, in fact, I don't even think if you just click it, it'll give it a rough steel look. And I like that actually. Yes, I do. And what I'll do is I'll just add some darkness to it just to make it a little more rustic, I guess. So to do that, we'll add a layer on top, and we'll make this layer rust fine. But we'll add a black mask, and we'll add a generator, and that generator will be MG Dirt. And curiously, it's done something rather weird that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting the whole thing to be dirty, but instead it's done just the edges. Let's just have a quick look, see if we can increase the dirt. Maybe. Try playing that on, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just tweaking these numbers here until I find something I'm quite happy with. Because what I'll probably end up doing, like the other stuff, is clicking on here and then just going linear dodge. Oh no, it's the other one. Burn. See burn? Colour burn. No. Hello? Oh yeah. Svetlana. Hang on. Hang on. There's quite a few. Svetlana Tana Gusk. I can't even say her surname. Tana Guskaja. Svetlana. Yeah, I thought it. It's a woman, isn't it? It's on its way. Alright then. Yeah, just ask her what it's like to work there. Yeah, just get a general feel. It's a good place to work. Alright then. See you later. Bye. Apologies guys, I'm getting quite a few phone calls, which I guess is a good thing, right? I hope you all wish me well in my job search. So I'm going to find which one it is now. Maybe it's overlay. That's it, overlay is good. Okay, just something that's kind of overlays it when you reduce the colour values, which I'm trying to do. Not very happy with that at all, the way that's looking when I do that. I mean, it looks really kind of weak and pale, doesn't it? Let's keep that at 100 then, if you can be like that. And then what I'll do is I'll actually just adjust the values here until I get them right. So is there there's contrast here, so I could potentially lighten that up, like so, and just maybe lower the dirt levels. So as I do that, maybe up the grunge amount and down the dirt levels. I'm going to stick with that for now. I'll let you tweak that as you feel. It's looking a bit too grotty for me at the minute. It's kind of like a really second-hand looking power tower, isn't it? I like it in a way though. You know, it kind of looks like it's been really well used, really army-based. That only leaves this chunk here, which is the I don't know what you call that, the conducting pylon. I called it something like that before. It looked right to me originally. You might want to try and get creative and do something different than I did there. So let's texture this. So let's just do that inner rim. Yeah, this is the beauty though. So you can come in now that I've done that, and you can change these pieces at will and not affect the other things. So the final bit, and we will call it. There we go. Let's just come outside and click on folder. Of course, it will go inside. So let's drag it out, and we'll call this conducting pylon. And again, the same rules apply here. We should just be able to quickly add a fill layer inside it. We will make it, I don't know, whatever for now, and then over here we'll add a black mask in the folder. And as usual, I think now we can click UVs. I think. Just double check they're all selected. Again, obviously blue is ridiculous. Yeah, I like what I see. I'm going to turn off. I don't need to turn it off. Excuse me. So just click over here. Click on materials, and I think what I like for is steel rust. Nice dark colour there. It's got some nastiness going on around the edges there, and I think that might be the anti-aliasing that's gone a bit wonky donkey. Let's try sci-fi artificial. It's a bit cleaner. Okay, alright, we'll go with that. And then I will do that as usual. So we'll just call that base black. And then add another fill layer on top, and we'll call this edging. As usual, make it a nickel or something like that. There you go. And then we'll add a black mask. And then we'll come over to our smart masks and try some of these edges. Let's try that one. Try it out. Just keep going down until it's something sensible. I'm slightly annoyed with these so-called edges that aren't actually working. Let's try that one. I think I'll just add on to it, won't it? Yeah, let's just concrete edging like that. This is a monster one, isn't it? It uses a lot of things for this. So I think with that in mind, I'm going to go back to the other one, which is the more simple one. Let's just type edge. And we've got edges uber. Let's have a quick look at edges uber then. That's better. Obviously it's a bit crazy. Just start tweaking these things down till we get something that's not too crazy. What I can do as well, by the way, so let's just do that. I'll show you something I rather like. If we just do something like that, and then add a filter, and it's going to be the sharpen filter. Where is sharpen filter? There you are. I like the way that looks when it does things like that. Now, I'm not particularly hugely a big fan of that edge though. I'll just keep plugging away. I'm going to find one that I'm fairly happy with. No, have a look at it, see if it's editable. Yeah, it's. So if I just grunt down the grunge, curious. There, that's a bit better. There we go. There we go. I'm playing around here until I find something. I mean, potentially what I might do, maybe that. There, I like it. I like what I see there. Yes. I'm not really happy with this. I'm not horrified by it either. I like the middle piece. I like the way that looks. I like the way that shines, and I like the outside. So with all that done, let's add some effects to these pieces here to really make it look a bit better. So we'll start with the outer section. I'll click on this. I'll just click on that one there, and then just add a paint layer. And what I've been doing here is I've been going for a colour, and I think just a height. So if I pick a colour, something like if I don't have to pick a colour, I could pick a material. No, I'm going to go with a colour, and I'm going to go with let's go with white and see how that pans out. So we'll call this insets. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. And I will click on here again, and then slide up and pick an alpha, And the one I like to go for is one of these line thins. All right, and if we pick, this is another cool thing about um, Substance Painter, is it kind of does this thing where it follows this stuff around, so that's really cool. Now I'm in orthographic mode. This does require a little bit of practice. But if I select there and then I do shift select down there, it does those rather cool lines all the way across. Now I think the thing I need to do, by the way, as well is just grab that there and then just Control Z a couple of times. So I've just moved the height down, by the way, so if I do it now you can see it's kind of gone in a bit. So I don't like the line thin, so I'm going to go for line thick, because I am thick. So thick I can't find it. There we go. Alright, and then same deal. Start somewhere there, say, and then just shift click, left click to there. Okay, they're too close together. This is the thing you sometimes have to play around with. So if I spin back up here, make sure all the jitters are off, and we'll put the spacing up to not 390 to 40. Once you've got it right, you can just copy it over and over again. Down. That's happy with me, right? So I'll just pull that down a bit so I can see the whole thing. This isn't an exact science, as you can probably already tell. Had I used the same texture space for all of these, I would only be doing this once. But whether or not, I don't like the fact that's down low, too low. Sorry, I'm being pernickety now. So I'm going to start there-ish. Let's try it again. So click on there, and then shift click down to say there. That's cool. Right, now the trick challenge is to try and keep them the same, roughly the same on each one. It doesn't matter if they're not 100% the same anyway. See, that's good enough for me. Yeah, it's just about. This one, start a bit higher then, and we'll go down to about there. Yeah, that's alright. Nobody's going to really pick up on this anyway, are they? Unless they're absolute heavily scrutinising it. This is a kind of an artistic process. Like that. Is that actually... Oh, what did I do there? I know what I did there, but did I affect anything when I did it? Don't think I did. Okay, good. So just all shift, dragging around, doing the same thing here. You can hold control, by the way, which keeps it in line, but that's not actually what you want maybe in this situation. Okay, nearly there, guys. Just keep dragging these around. Too high? I think it might be. Let's do that again. Just pulling these down. I don't like the way that's working with those jaggedy edges there. That's annoying me. Alright. I think I know it's something to do with the anti-aliasing. And down to about there. Actually, no. Really is tempting sometimes just to do it manual stamp sort of there. Like that. And on that one. Come on, do this to me. Like that. Maybe. It does kind of tie it up, doesn't it? Like that. That one, see, that one looks... Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep going. Like that. Yeah, I think this is actually worth doing. Yeah, you can have one as well. And definitely you now. Okay, nearly there. Alright, that'll do. Right, so we've got those nice lines coming down. What I was doing as well was doing something on the outside. A bit more straightforward, because I think I can just start positioning these, making sure I'm in orthographic with F6, and then I can do something a bit funkier with the outside, something along the lines of adding a box, I think is where I did it. I don't initially see that. I wonder what I did. Was it a box? I thought it was a box. Where are you, box? Oh, boxy boxy. Well, the other option I've got is just to put the spacing right down, and then change the colour. And let's add a new paint layer, just so it's in there, and we'll just make this black. Start with this one. Couple of things I don't like about that. I was hoping, number one, it would be on the out, it would go out rather than up. That's fine. Let's try it. Just get it as straight as you can. Put it down, put it down. I'm rattling through this a bit now because I want to get it done, and you guys are probably getting impatient. By the way, you can adjust it by if you control and then adjust the size with the right mouse button. Ah, shit. Control Y. Excuse my language. I do need to get it the right size again now. Think about there. I find this doesn't work so well on the outside from a height perspective. I can barely see this, in fact, but you'll get where I'm going with this, because I'll actually, in a minute, I'll adjust the colour opacity. Kind of rushing this just to prove the point now. And it shows. More and more wishing that I had used the same texture space, but you wouldn't have got those nice edges there. Alright, something like that, and then what we'll do is we'll just quickly grab the colour on that and just play with it till it does sort of stick out a bit. Not that much. Just come in a bit more than that there. Alright, now we can add something along the edges here, so let's quickly do that as well. So we should call that outsets. Outsets. The more layers you have, the more power control you have to switch different bits off and on, so it's worth doing it. Something I constantly forget to do and end up putting things in the same layer. And we'll call it edges. I don't know. And we'll pick a line again. And what we'll do now is we'll actually switch on the mirror modifier. I'll call it the mirror modifier, the mirror. And now what we can do actually, and what I'll do as well is click on wireframe, and I'll just bring that right up, try and find the middle, and click there, like that. That looks quite good actually. Just actually have it straight, click, and sort of positioning in the middle, and I can see I'm going to hit a problem because those two are going to be in the same place. So which means that I need to do them in between. Okay, that's alright, that I can do. Like so. Is it me or is it in the middle? So let's just see if it is. So, like so. And like so, right? Okay. And then I'll just turn off wireframe and that. Control S. Guys, I'm pretty happy with that. For now, that's my power tower for the day. I could do so much more with this, and I'd advise you to take this away and see if you can do better. In fact, I know you can do better. I know I can do better, to be honest with you. But you can do so much better just by playing with this, adding some more features, adding some of the normals and things like that. I'm not going to do that because I'm conscious that time is getting away, and you probably want to get on with adding it into Unity. So I will now save this again. I think I did save it, and then what we'll do is we will export these textures. So let's click on export the textures. First thing to do is to go to configuration here, click on Unity 5 standard. I've got this height map set up here. I might just delete it and show you how I did that. So this is what it looks like normally. Okay, you got the transparency, the smoothness, normal and emission. We don't use emission in this. Emission is kind of the glow one. Potentially we could remove that, but I won't. And what we'll do is we'll just click on that one there, and then clear that channel. Let's just change that to height. And then I'm hoping, there you go, clear channel, and then what we're going to do is do height here, just drag that in and say Hey, grey channel, grey channel, grey channel, grey channel. I think I'm going to be wrong now, aren't I? So that's the grey channel there, and then we can go spin back to export. So you'll have a height map now, and we can go to here, and if we just stick Unity 5 standard metallic, just double check, you've got yourself your height map down there, and you can see this PT002, that's the file name. Then it's got the material, which you may remember that we saved at the start of this thing here, and then the specific texture map that it is. So we don't want it to go there either, so let's just put it in the right place. 1 second while I navigate there. Okay, so we're in Power Tower, so now we'll just export them there. So say select that folder, bash, click export. Take a few seconds and it will complain. If I just show you the warnings, there's always the log files. The warning, and I can't find the log file, is that it couldn't find the emission map, which makes perfect sense because we didn't do any emissions. Alright, so that's saved, Control S. There's one more thing I wanted to show you how to do, and that is if I just spin over to that folder. Okay, so we're here in that folder now. These files are quite small actually, quite small. I'm quite impressed at how small they are. The Substance Painter file can be quite large, but these are relatively small size for those PNGs. But what I can actually do, if I just spin over to Google Chrome and just go to compress PNG, okay, compresspng.com. Here we go. Let's close some of these guys down, and then what we can do is just drag them in. This is a great website, guys. Just pull these in here now, slowly but surely. It will compress them, and can you see that the level is compressed it by 66%? I'm guessing that'll do something similar. A couple of the smaller files, I think it may actually not do so. So the height map it might not do much with. I think the height map is quite small. The albedo transparency obviously is the big one. And the metallic smoothness seems to be quite chunky as well, actually, bigger than I imagined. See, it's seriously reducing the file size, and then what we can do, it won't affect quality. These are all PNGs, so it's not going to affect the quality at all. And 47% on that one. So if you just click on download all, you don't need an account for this. It'll just it'll let you do it, and then we can just grab those in. Control C. If I where's my other folder? Here. No, that's the one we just had. Where's the? There we go. Control V. It's actually called the min. So we just delete these guys. Delete, and then we'll just grab these ones. Just remove the word min. And you can see the difference now. So they're nice and small and ready for import into Unity. Might help us save a few megabytes of RAM when we import these into games and stuff. So what may be worth considering as part of your workflow to just drag those into something like compress PNG, or maybe you've got a favourite tool that you can do to do this. You know, maybe even by the command line. All right, so we're done here. Next step, we're going to go into Unity, import it in, and then get that lightning working. So thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.